Wake up, moms. Any moms in the house? Hello. Any moms out there? I'm a papa. I'm a proud papa, and I know a proud mama. I sleep next to her every single night. I'd sleep next to her 2 nights every night if I could. I love her so much. But I'm not a mom. So we're going to hear this morning from a mom and from somebody who's been kicking butt and taking names. Beth, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. So you're a mama, huh?
Oh yeah.
Kind of your first full-time job, right?
Yes. And then I go to my other job too. So
Yeah, your priority. I know. I mean, people really, mostly men, I guess for many generations, have not really recognized or realized how hard it is to take care of children. Now, I happen to work from home, so I get to see it every single day. And my wife works with me. We are lucky enough to have a wonderful nanny. But it's the hardest job that either of us have ever done. So congratulations for making it through. You still have all your hair.
I do, but it's starting to turn a little gray, I've noticed in the last couple of years. So
Well, join
thanks,
the club.
kids, for that.
Join the club on that one. That's for sure. So what brought you or what led you to be open to or look for something on the internet?
So I had actually been looking for something for about 6 months, just scrolling through, looking at all the there's so many things out there. And I would look into them little by little, and I would just, nothing ever drew me in enough to actually do something about it. But the reason I started looking was because ever since I've had my kids, I've been really firm in like, I'm going to stay working part-time. Because there was probably about 4 different times where I almost said, all right, you're off to daycare, I'm going back to work full time. Like
Right.
either because of finances, or honestly, the first 2 years with 2 under 2 was like pulling my hair out.
I don't know how you're still in one piece, but go on. I completely understand.
So I've always made it a priority. Like I'm only going to work part-time. And so there's just like a lot of things that go along with my particular job and keeping it part-time. Some of it was really good and some of it was really hard. So I was like, you know what if I could just supplement what I could be making if I went back full-time by doing something at home? So I started looking and followed a whole bunch of different people that were doing different things, and finally stumbled across Legendary. And it was just like all the pieces just came together as far as like how I actually saw myself doing this.
Yeah. Well, it's not like you have a horrible job. You're a physical therapist.
No, and I love my job. I don't really plan on leaving. I just want to keep it, as flexible as possible.
Yeah. And I think we're getting to this place in society to where having multiple jobs, or a job on a side hustle, or a job on a side gig, or there's always, I think people have always had that in some ways, whether they sold little things on the side that they made, or little crafts that a guy might have tinkered around in his shed and made, or obviously MLM and Amway and those kind of businesses have been very popular in America over the past 50 years. But when pandemics are coming into to play and all these other things, and we don't have when we don't have opportunity in the traditional sense, meaning offline, like when the opportunity seems to be dwindling offline, all the old traditional offline things are not as lucrative as they once were, selling your blankets, or selling things that you crocheted, or selling your wooden chairs that you made. So now people are beginning to set their focus on the internet, and they're trying to understand what the opportunity is, but I don't think it doesn't quite make sense yet. But you're saying that as you begin to go through the challenge, and as you begin to get into some of this training, the pieces did fall in place for you. Could you say more about that?
So I would see people online saying like they were successful at doing, network marketing or affiliate marketing or this or that. And I'd be like, okay, how? Like, I don't see how I could do that. So when I did finally dive in and started going through the challenge, it was like these light bulbs going off. I'm like, oh, that's how they're saying they can do this in less time, because this part of it is automated. I never, and like, honestly, I would go through and be like, oh my gosh, that person over there I've been following forever. This is what they're doing. Like I've been getting like emails from them for like a year. And I'm like,
You're like,
oh,
what is
they
this
don't write these
person's
emails
role
every
in?
day?
Yeah, what is this person's role in life? How are they making money, right? They seem to be just
Yeah.
posting posts on Instagram, which I'm doing the same thing, and I'm broke. I'm not making any money from it. So I'm right.
Yeah. And
It's
when I realized like how those parts were automated, I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing because I don't have time.
yeah.
I need parts of this to be automated.
Yeah. Well, I discovered that in network marketing when I first got involved in network marketing was chasing friends and family. And then just the power of a simple video that I could send people to that would do the selling and telling and explaining. I see so many people doing sales nowadays. And it's such an odd thing because you have to count on yourself. If you're the one who's explaining and doing all the selling and telling, which is what most businesses do. Most
Mm-hmm.
businesses, somebody sits down and they may have, the flu that day. They may not be clear. They may have, had a bad night's sleep, but yet still they're the delivery mechanism of the sales message. Whereas just the simple discovery of using an automated video that I could record my best
Mm-hmm.
presentation one time and it could actually be watched millions of times simultaneously. And after that, I could follow up with people, or I could have them send me a message. Just the power of leveraging those tools was was one of the things that was a big light bulb for me. This was 10 years ago. You mentioned, the email marketing and a few things, I think, or how you had saw your Instagram kind of people that you followed on Instagram, how they were making money. Um,
Mm-hmm.
did that make you really excited or really mad?
Excited
Okay. Okay.
because I like it. Like I finally saw what half the internet was doing. Like I really I started looking at my social media and I went, okay, half of the people on here are producing something and making money from it, and the other half of us are consuming. And I was like, I've literally just been consuming social media for all these years when I could actually be producing something from it.
Mm. That alone is a big realization, isn't it? And I
Yeah.
think it's a lot less than half and half, Beth. I think it's probably more to the tune of now anybody could fact check us and probably do some Googling or whatever, but if I was to guess the creator community out of I don't think everybody's on the internet, but I do think about 2/3 of humanity is. So
Yeah.
that's about 5 billion people. And so, of those 5 billion people who are using social media in one way, shape, or form, my guess would be there's about 1% of us who are creators. And I,
Really, yeah. It would just
well,
dawn on me, like I started noticing different people that I would follow because I liked their content. I either learned something from them, I bought something from them. I was like, so this is what it's all about. Like I was so oblivious to it all before.
in
And then
oblivious
I
to
found
how,
like I saw like the background, like the
yeah,
behind the scenes. I was like,
like they've opened the
oh
curtain. Yeah,
yeah.
we open the curtain at Legendary, don't we?
Yeah. So then I went back through and all these, I'm like, that person's doing that. That person's doing that. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
And it's the same, what we teach is the same thing that's worked consistently for over a decade on the internet versus some of these other business models or hot trends or fancy things that people are doing that are, the newest way to, the newest way to generate leads by the dozen or whatever. It's the basics, the simple mechanics that we teach along with the dynamics of mindset in your psychology and in learning about your customer psychology is
Hmm.
really the whole secret to this. But the mechanics are not really that difficult. They can be frustrating sometimes to set up, but seeing somebody explain it, then going back to other people on the internet and seeing it in action and as you're
Hmm.
describing is I've had that I have heard this from so many people over the years, Beth, and how they feel so much more empowered that they can see. It's almost like having x-ray vision. I can see through the consumer, the pitch, the product, and
Hmm.
I can see past to the business.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I really was like, okay. I think it was a little bit my husband too. He was like, you spend too much time on social media, all this stuff. And I was like, but what if I could leverage it? Instead of just being a consumer, what if instead I was using that same amount of time to
Good for
be like
you.
starting a business? He was like, all right, show me.
Good for you. I teach my kids to do that, negotiate with me
Yeah.
about things. You know what I mean? You negotiate. You gave up too easy right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's cool. And that's how has his attitude evolving?
Oh yeah. Yeah. But he'll catch me sometimes if I'm like looking at my phone. He's like, are you working? I'm like,
Uh-oh.
no. But I'm gonna start working right now.
We got the old internet marketing police in the house. Oh dear.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's what even if you have a bit of support from him, that will morph
Oh
your
yeah, he
results.
definitely supports me, but he really helps me like stay on track. He's like,
Yeah.
remember, you're working a business, like you're not a consumer anymore.
Yeah.
And he'll like snap me and be like, either get to work or put that down.
What is the biggest challenge that you have going from sort of consumer to creator? Is it that you get is it that you get distracted at other creators' messaging when they're trying to pitch other ideas? Is that what it is?
It's just any sort of distraction. It's been my whole life. I'm like, see squirrel, run after squirrel. Like,
Mm,
so it's just keeping myself focused on like what I set out to do. Cause I'll see, it's not even other people doing other things. Like I'll just get sidetracked watching someone else do the same thing and
yeah,
be
and
like,
then a
okay,
half
well, look
hour's
at it
gone.
for like 5 seconds and then go do something, like,
Well, you're obviously a successful person, and even with your whatever you just described, ADD, I don't know, distractibility,
probably something like that. Yeah.
whatever it is, and we don't need a diagnosis, but you described something similar to what I can relate to that as well. Um,
Hmm.
so you're obviously a smart woman, and you've done got yourself a career in physical therapy and all this. You know how to figure things out. What sort of success hacks or focus hacks have you used besides your husband? Uh, to keep you to shore up some of these weaknesses that you may have. One being distractibility.
Yeah, yeah. So I had to come up with what I gathered to be like income generating tasks, like things that I'm going to do on a daily basis that actually move my business forward. And if I find myself I'm not doing one of those things, then I'm like, "Oh, you need to stop. You're getting, sucked into a rabbit hole. You're getting distracted. Like come back. Am I communicating with my audience? Am I doing any messaging? Am I um creating content? Am I asking, looking for people because I created a Facebook group.
Mhm.
So am I getting people into my Facebook group? Am I making posts that help them learn and why they even came into the Facebook group in the first place? Things like that. And if I'm going out like looking for how to do something to learn something new or how to generate content in a new way, I'm specifically like when I'm looking at social media, it's gathering,
Ideas.
ideas, and
Yeah.
then I write them down. And I actually listen to this show. I make it a point 3 days a week. So I go to the gym 3 days a week with my little one because I can bring him and they have
Yeah.
childcare. So it's just like in my schedule, I go to the gym 3 days a week. He goes, plays in childcare. And while I'm working out, now I listen to the Wake Up Legendary shows while I'm working out
Woohoo! Now you're on.
instead of music.
You gonna listen to yourself?
Huh?
You gonna listen to yourself?
Maybe I will. Yeah, and I'll laugh at myself probably. But it's
No,
funny because I'll have
don't
my
do it.
phone with
We
me.
never like the way we sound.
Oh no.
If we were if it was up to us, we would criticize the hell of out of ourselves until we absolutely just,
Yeah.
did nothing. So sometimes it's best not to, just post and go, not even look or watch your content. You know what I mean? Did you freeze on me? I thought she just wasn't laughing at my joke. I think she froze. She
Yep.
froze. You there?
um.
Log out and log back in, Beth. I think you're oh, here you're coming back.
Yeah.
Your internet's
Yeah.
a little spotty. Go ahead, though. Were you gonna say something?
The video kind of like slowed down for a second and got really slow, so I wasn't sure if the connection
Anyways,
was gonna get lost, but I think we're good now.
yeah, yeah,
What I
we're
was
back.
gonna say is when I'm working out and listening to the shows, every time I hear something that like clicks, I get on my phone. I have like a little notes section, and I like take notes, and I'll have. I mean, it goes on and on and on of all the notes I've taken.
Oh, that's really, really, really
And
cool.
that's
I'm
what I come
glad you.
back to if I feel stuck
Yeah.
with anything.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're getting that from this community and the show. I've been saying that for a long time. Like there is so much. A lot of times we don't pay attention because we didn't pay for this show. It's free, so it's like, yeah, I'll just
Yeah.
come in and out, But I mean, the nuggets are unstoppable.
Oh,
They're
yeah. I
just
learned something. I mean, I'm on my phone right now using this, but if I could like show you, like it would just scroll through in my notes section, like
yeah.
just note after note after note.
That's been my problem over the years too, is just, like I got so many ideas and I got Google Drive folders full of stuff and Dropbox folders full of stuff and notepads full of stuff. I've got the hell's that? It's an app, a productivity app that has an elephant as the logo.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Anyways, I got that. I got that one too. You know what I mean? And it's like all these different organization methods that I've tried and used over the years and just uh, it's for us as entrepreneurs, I feel that sort of like for me, it's kind of like my toolbox. You know what I mean? It's like all
Hmm.
the ideas, all the different screenshots of an ad or pages that I've screenshotted or saved or whatever. Those are like my tools, and I can go whether it be an idea that I came up with, an idea that I saw somebody else do. I can save it and go back when I'm feeling not inspired. But I do often find that I save way too many things, way more than I ever use. And
Yeah.
so I have began myself to say, probably not going to come back to this, but it was good to see and just kind of let it go on and not try to save it or hoard it. But
Yeah.
every entrepreneur has their own sort of methodology of kind of building and then organizing their toolbox. And I consider all those little ideas, notepads and Google Drives and pages that you've saved and so forth, your swipe file or your idea pond. Swipe.
Hmm.
I can go and swipe an idea. That's why us marketers call it a swipe file, because I
Hmm.
can go and swipe an idea out of there. I can say, hey, look, I'm struggling with an email headline, or I'm trying to write a sales letter and I'm trying to come up with a headline for my sales letter. So all I got to do, for those of you who own the blueprints, there's a swipe file that I've began and created for you in that particular product, of all the old school copywriters like the John Carltons and these legends from back in the day, a lot of their copy, which is still relevant today.
Hmm.
The structure in the headlines, in the hooks that they used, they're all still relatable today. But I've saved also a lot of my material over the years, and put and created that into a swipe file. We actually sold that in something called the secret swipe file. That was a product that we sold that we've now taken off the market. We're not selling it for right now, but it had all of my sales letters and all of my emails and all of my things that I've written over the past 10 years or so. It was a gold mine. um, that even if no customers, I mean, I don't know if any of you have used it. I know a lot of you have bought it, but I know that I use it because I
Hmm.
go back into it when I'm looking for a headline or I'm looking for something, some inspiration. I will absolutely go into my own swipe file of past work that I've created. And I think that's a cool element of this business is you do create a body of work. And at
Yeah.
a certain point, you can take
Hmm.
that body of work, all your notes, all your swipe files, all your experience, and you can actually turn that into a digital product. You can
Yeah.
turn that into a product if it's within the niche that you're working in. If you want to continue to work in that niche of helping either business owners, other internet marketers, who does not need help these days
Yeah.
adjusting to this digital economy. So
Yeah.
wonderful. What else do you do that's helpful? How have you been able to you know uh I guess leverage your time, as we've advertised in the headline, leverage your time so much? What does your daily kind of either method of operation, some call it, to be fancy, or
Yeah.
daily schedule look
Yeah,
like?
no, I've definitely come up with some strategies of like how to get it all done. And one of them is, if you ever look at any of my content, like probably 80% of the content, I'm sitting in my car. Like right after on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I take my kids to preschool and then I go to work. So I work like right across the street from their preschool. So I'll drop them off and then either in the preschool parking lot or my work parking lot, I'll
Mm,
jump on and I'll make like 3 or 4 videos.
mm,
Um, and that'll be, sometimes that's all I get done that day. Cause then I
mm.
go into the clinic and I'm treating patients, or I actually teach at a university as well. They're actually both in the same building. So I'm either teaching or treating patients, and like my brain is just 100% focused on where I'm at right then.
Yeah.
And if I get another chance in the evening, it's usually like getting in and actually talking to people. So if I can jump on either my phone or my computer in the evening is when I'm, doing all my communication.
Yeah.
So messaging with people, answering questions, replying comments, posting stuff in my Facebook group. And then at least once in the week, what I'll try to do is be like, okay, I need an hour or two. Like I'll tell my husband, like, either I get home from work, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna head straight home and I need those 2 hours, 1 hour, and you're gonna pick up the kids, or sometime wherever I can find it. And I batch content.
Have you considered schedule, like how we do this Wake Up Legendary show, like every day at 10 a.m., 5 days a week, like it's a scheduled thing?
Mm-hmm.
What are your what are your times? Do they have any consistency to them, or are you posting, and or did you say you're going live as well, or no?
No, I haven't started going live yet. That's something I want to add in as well.
Yeah.
Um, but mostly my times that I've been most successful at doing things is like any chunk of time I get in the car by myself,
Yeah.
or in the evenings, kind of
Yeah.
after the kids go to bed.
And I did that at the beginning as well when I was juggling more things than I am now. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
obviously don't have another job outside of this, and we do have a nanny, so we have some help there, and
Mm-hmm.
really, my wife was the one who influenced my structure and my schedule. I mean, I was all over the place forever, and
And that's how my husband's a very like structured,
yeah,
like type A personality, and he's like, he looks at me like all over the place, and it like kind of hurts his brain, I think. So he definitely like tries to help me, like, hey, why don't you get up from like 6 to 7 every day? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then like I hit snooze, and yeah.
right, right. You really have to come up with something that works for you. And
Yeah.
that's my wife has given me a lot of inspiration around how she lives her life. And I really have to figure out what works best for me. And what has worked best for me is having things scheduled on a regular basis, and particularly the going live piece, doing the show. See, everybody, this started out as not something that it was a trial, it was a test. I started doing this show personally when in March of 2020, when all the shit went down.
Yeah.
And so it's been a bit of trial and error, but I can tell you that having that scheduled thing. See, the problem, Beth, is that when we're operating a business like this, our friends, our particular family, it doesn't look like a business. So and we're home. So they're like, well, you're home. So why are you on your phone? Or why, right? It doesn't compute. And it
Mm-hmm.
especially doesn't compute to somebody who has only ever been employed and never been an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur. And likely your husband is that. My wife was the same way when I first started. So, yeah, it looks a little like, what are you doing? Are you really working? Like,
Yeah.
are you just kind of screwing off,
Actually, we actually started because all of this made so much sense to us. Like reading that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I'm telling you, like, we had both like had all of these thoughts in our heads for probably a couple years of like, what's the next step of getting ourselves ahead? And we just didn't have like, it just, nothing was ever coming together. We weren't 100% on the same page with what we wanted to do, things like that. I read that book in 3 days and I handed it to my husband and I said, read this book and we need to get on the same page and we need to do something.
Yeah. Good for
So
you.
I started this because we also saw so much of the advantage of just being a business owner in general.
Yeah.
So we're going to take full advantage of everything that we can as far as taxes and all that, which is being a business owner.
Yeah.
And then like 2 weeks later, we got introduced to another opportunity that my husband is going all in with.
Nice.
So between
You
the
guys
two
are
of them, like, so
going
he's totally in
big.
that mindset too of like,
Wow.
we are not going to be employees. Like we have actually a really like drawn out, because he's the one that's like so
Right.
structured. He has
Right.
like
Right.
a,
Right.
like, we just went on vacation a couple weeks ago and like we came up, mostly him, I say we, he mostly him, of like a very structured 5-year plan of not being employees anymore.
Mm.
So we're really excited about everything that's just kind of like shifted in our mindset
Did you talk
just
about
from
your
starting this.
investment? What do you two want to invest in? Once you start making money in your business, will you invest in the
Real
stock
estate.
market? In real estate is something that you want?
Yep. So we're really
Good for you.
excited about it all. And it's all just been, it all started with having from me kind of like opening up and realizing like, I want to try something new and different. And everything that we've learned through the process has literally in the last, like, when I first started the challenge, maybe 4 or 5 months ago or something, like our entire financial plan for our future has 180'd.
With some cash coming in already.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
very important too, because a
Yeah.
lot of us dream but don't take action on the plan.
Yeah.
And you know what's kind of cool about this story, really cool, is that you didn't do a lot of planning before you got started. You got started, and the momentum, the excitement, the inspiration from getting started, from doing things, has now brought about this new vision, this new electricity between you and your husband.
Yeah.
I'm fucking fired up. I am fired up right now.
Yeah, it was
This
just,
is awesome.
it was our timing. Like we finally are on the same page with everything. We have like goals. We're working towards our goals. We can see how what we're doing is going to get us there. And
Yeah.
honestly, like this business of mine with affiliate marketing, this is because I was like, I want to get there faster.
Yeah.
I want to get there faster.
Well, I can tell you that your plan here, what you're doing, is the exact same path that I took. It's getting into internet marketing and then beginning to first invest in real estate. And the first thing that we did was we bought our own house. We bought a home. I had saved up enough money from a previous business. We bought that house cash back in 2014. So that was really cool. It was a $500,000 house. We bought it for cash. And this was 2014. And so since then, we've invested the money that we've made in marketing in two different things. One being real estate, and one being specifically, we have consolidated all of our stocks into ETFs, specifically Vanguard ETFs. If you don't know what those are, might want to look into those, folks, before you
I know
go.
a little bit, yeah, because that's stuff I would like be looking into when, I was like, oh, I think we should invest in the stock market, and my husband was like, oh, that's too risky, and we just
Yeah, but well, ETFs
now it's
allow
all coming together.
ETFs allow you, ETFs and or index funds is what they're called, allow you to it's basically you buy a breadbasket of stocks that Vanguard, or there's other companies, manage them at a very low fee. The diversification is very safe because it's invested across all of lots of different companies. And the stock market over the last 100 years, regardless of what your favorite internet guru says, the stock market has returned 10.26% every year. And if you let that money bubble and marinate, that compounding interest, the phenomenon of that, Michelle says, don't get us started on ETFs again. Well, we need to talk about what we do with our money once we start making it, because the
Yeah.
problem that I see, and I'm going to start talking about this a lot more because I've learned a lot. I binge learn stuff so then I can share it. I can do it and then share it. I learn, do, teach. And so our investment journey over the past, over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years, because we really didn't start investing in the first couple of years in our business. Like we weren't really investing. And then we bought our home. Then we bought our first piece of real estate. Now we own how many houses, babe? She doesn't know. 7 or 8, something like that. Between 7 and 9. One we live in, one we work out of, and the company rents it from us.
Yep.
Understand?
So that's
Pays rent to
yeah.
us, right?
We've
Not
learned
not
so much
exorbitant,
recently.
2,200 a month. Nothing. It's not crazy. It's a reasonable rent. But
Hmm.
but the company pays that to me. Legendary Marketer pays that to me and my wife because they rent for us to work here, right? So there's
Hmm.
a tax advantage. And then we have 5 or 6 other homes. Now get this. A lot of people are looking for real estate and all over the country. Where's the best place to buy real estate? And they all, well, all this BS, overcomplicating it. We bought homes. Every single home we own is in the same neighborhood.
Oh,
Why?
really?
Why? Convenience. We
Yeah.
don't consider that with the money. See, a lot of us say, "Oh, this has got massive upside. Oh, that's the best opportunity." But it's hard to manage the investment or hard to manage the business. So we
Hmm.
have to take into consideration also, and this was my wife's brilliance on this. I had nothing. She said, "Look, I want to be able to drive 5 minutes if one of our tenants has an emergency.
Yeah.
I want everything to be. I want to be able to drive by the houses on the way home if I want to,
Hmm.
which she doesn't. But
Yeah.
all
Well,
of
we
that
do
is
the same
possible.
thing. We already have one rental and it's about 2 miles away from our
Good
house.
for you. And now you can now once you begin to build up the pay down the mortgage on that, what
Hmm.
we did now, unfortunately, interest rates are really high right
I
now,
know.
so it kind of sucks. It's a good time to stockpile cash right now, and if you want real estate, the prices will come down in
Yeah. We're like
2023.
just getting ready to
Oh, isn't it
do whatever we
wonderful to
can. Yeah.
isn't it wonderful to be in this position during this bear
Yeah.
market, this possible recession that's coming, and have some income and a plan to be able to take advantage of some of these things?
And we just never thought we'd be in a place to be our first 5 years that we were married. And first we both went to physical therapy school and we both came out with a massive amount of student loans. So the first 5 years that we were married, the rental that we have, it's our first house.
Mm,
It was like a little
yeah, that's a
1,200
great
square foot
idea.
house,
And then you
and we
bought
spent.
another one, right? And
Yeah.
rented that one out.
Yeah, so we
Good
spent
for
the
you.
first 5 years just paying off student loans, and then we had kids, and we were like, "Well, that was exhausting." Now, now I only want to work part time. So
Yeah,
now what?
yeah.
But yeah, we were able to get ourselves to this position. We the first house that we had, we kept it. We're here now. We're 2 miles across the street. We
Mhm,
wanted more land, so we got the bigger yard,
mhm.
and we rent that one out. And it's my husband. If something breaks the other day, the people that live there are like, oh, the garbage disposal broke. So we also work across the street too. Everything we
Good
do
for
is like
you.
within
Very
five
similar.
miles.
It's a great life, and it's been one of the like unplanned benefits of this whole business and process for me is the ability to be able to work so close. I mean,
Yeah.
and just
And I
have
just
no
didn't know how
travel
else
time.
we were gonna get all that extra. Like, we want to do this. Where are we gonna get this money to put into the real estate? And
Here
now
you are.
now I can do it literally when I find my times. I
Yeah.
can do it from like 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. before the kids even get up, and like
Well, what I was going to
all
tell you,
across.
just you may already be doing this, but just in case anybody else, I'd like to share what my wife and I did when interest rates were really low. What we did was we saved up enough money to buy the house, then and then we refinanced it
Yeah, we
and took the
missed that,
money.
unfortunately.
Yeah. So when you have to when rates are low is when this strategy
Yeah.
works really
Rates were
well
at
because
their lowest right when we bought this house, like last August.
so you got
And
a
we were like,
30-year.
we're gonna move into this house, we're gonna refinance the other house and all that.
Yeah.
And 3 months went by and we blinked and interest rate went up and we were like, oh.
Yeah. So the strategy is real simple if you guys want to get into real estate. Number one, yeah, rates are really high right now because they're trying to deal with inflation. So the Federal Reserve is raising the interest rates for the money that they loan to the banks, that the banks loan to you to be able to get your mortgage. And so mortgages, 30-year mortgages right now are running at about 7 point something percent. And that's a lot of money. A 500-year mortgage went from about an $1,800 payment to about a $3,000 payment over the past month or two. And so now is definitely a great time to stockpile money. For me, I'm investing in my index fund, my ETFs right now as well. I love those. In the stock market's down 20 to 40% right now. People in 10 years, that money will be. I'm really excited about this opportunity. But what we did in real estate was we would pay down a home to the point to where there was enough money to refinance it. And then we would refinance it and buy another house. We would take the down payment out and buy another house with that. And then we would get that one to the point to where we could refinance it, and we would refinance it and get a down payment and put down and buy another house. That's how we actually own 2 more. We sold 2 houses at the top of the market, and took a ton of profit from these 2 houses because the prices were so inflated over the past year. But it's once you start, you have to have a cash flow machine. This is what we don't. That's
what I'm working on right now.
You got to have cash flow. Without cash flow, you cannot make investments. You cannot get rich. You will not get wealthy. The days of Warren Buffett, I'm investing in penny stocks or whatever, and I'm going to sit on them. That's great. But more than anything, how you can guarantee your success is create a cash generating business that has low overhead, very low kind of stress, has high margins, and go absolutely ham on that. And then take that money and don't reinvest all of it back into mentors and coach. I love all that stuff. But the truth is that there's enough education right here in Legendary for each one of you to make your first million. Actually, Legendary did 18 million last year. We'll be in a magazine. We'll be in Inc. magazine next month over it. And we use the same playbook that we teach here. And what that allows you to do is then take that cash and you can buy real estate with it. You can buy stocks or ETFs. You can buy any other thing that you would like to invest in or what you want to do with your money. But that's the way to wealth. And what a lot of people miss is the cash cow. You got to have a cash generating machine really above and beyond your salary or whatever.
That's what I was going to say next is like, I can go work more hours. That's what I did when we were trying to pay off our student loans is I worked in a setting. So in physical therapy, you can work in all different kinds of settings and they pay differently. And I worked in a setting that I didn't necessarily love, but it paid me the most money. And I worked a lot of weekends. So I just did as many hours as I possibly could to get my salary as high as I could because we were trying to pay down loans. And I'm like, man, if I knew about this back then, probably would have been a lot less stressful.
Yeah.
But like now
I was on the internet. I was on the internet then. You just didn't know it.
What's that?
I was on the internet. You just didn't know it.
Yeah, I wasn't on the internet. I don't even think I had Instagram yet, to be honest. I was really late to the game on social media. Even when I started social media, I posted like 3 pictures a year and just looked at my friends' kids' pictures. That's all I really ever did. So when I started this and actually started a brand new social media account, that was the first time I'd ever posted a video of myself, ever.
Yeah.
And it was very weird.
Your point about the trading time for money and having a job and all that, there's no way for most of you that you're going to get ahead like that unless you're earning a lot of money. Unless you have a
literally never see my kids. So I was like, it's not worth it to me. Like
that's the other thing. You have to choose, you really have to make some tough decisions in this journey called life about where you're going to spend your time. And there's a bit of there's risk that you have to take if you want to get wealthy and you want to get your time back. And some of those risks are going to be exactly what you're doing. And I think you're like the poster child for this because you're fitting it in to a
Mhm.
busy ass schedule. Like you got
Yeah.
kids, you got gym, you got your job, you're lecturing at a university. My
Mhm.
God. And then you get home and your husband's like cracking the whip. What, are you on that phone working, or woman, are you playing? No, I'm just joking. I just got to jerk his chain a little bit. But you know what I mean? It's like, wow, where does she have time? Well, friends,
I make
she's
time
got the
because
same
it's that
24
important to
hours
me.
that we all have, same
Yeah.
24 hours that we all have. And it's just about when you have the 15 minutes, not wasting it like
Yeah.
inside of your own limiting beliefs. And I think being able to execute in the moment and not kind of, not sit there and just absolutely tear yourself to shreds. And so could you talk a little bit about how you've just gotten comfortable with the camera and hitting post?
Well, if anyone who's watching this goes back and looks at my like first couple posts, they were looking back at them now. I'm like, wow, those were terrible. But I was on the phone. I was talking to my friend on the phone who I was like, just, talking to her about all this stuff I'm learning and excited to tell her about it. And she was the one that was like, well, just do it. Just post the video. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Like, I don't, she's like, just do it. So I'm in my car and I'm like, okay.
You got a great support group and you listen to them, don't you? Whether it's the
Yeah,
wife or
yeah.
the
When someone
best
tells me
friend,
to do
holy
something, I
crap.
just okay, I'll do it. If it's good. So yeah, then I just had to do it so many times to like. I mean, at first it was
Hold on
like
a
a
sec.
lot
Wait,
less pictures of myself and like.
you mean practice makes perfect?
Yeah,
Hold
I had
on
to do it a lot of times.
God. Shit, I thought you were gonna have some secret. Damn it. I really did.
No,
I
no, I
thought
had no secret. I was like, there was times where in the beginning I would like delete one because I was like, oh my god, that's really embarrassing. But then as I just stopped caring.
yeah.
And I got more comfortable. There's still some that I'm like, well, that really wasn't my best performance, but
Haven't you said that a million times in
I
other
go to work
situations
and I'm
too? I
like,
mean, I
that
say
wasn't
that to
my best
myself every
performance either.
day. Yeah, everything I do, I'm going, oh, that wasn't my best performance. I mean, that's
Yeah,
just a
and you
way of
just do
life
it
for this
again.
guy.
Yeah. I mean, so I started going into a teaching role as a physical therapist, teaching graduate students physical therapy. And yeah, that was very uncomfortable when I first started, but
Yeah.
and I messed up and I said things wrong or things like that, and I just kept doing it and I got better and better and better.
Yeah.
And now I can stand up there and teach a lecture or teach an entire lab, no problem.
Yeah. And nothing changed except what was right here, right?
Yeah, I just when I mess up, I do have a tendency to kind of like on certain things, like I kind of beat myself up, but I'm getting better at that and just being like, all right, what are you gonna do next time? Are you gonna be more prepared? Are you gonna do this, this, and this? Like, what are you
Yeah.
gonna do next time? Make it better.
Yeah. Yeah, we all, golly. It's interesting. There's so many ways that you can keep yourself from feeling so badly about being human.
Yeah.
One of the things that you can do is just let people know about your weaknesses and just give them to them on a silver platter right before you start your talk or your speech or your video or whatever. And that's one of the things that I started doing early in my career. I was so afraid that people were going to find out I was a recovering drug addict. I'd been a heroin addict. I was homeless. Holy shit. These are the things that people hear and run the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
But I started to, reveal those skeletons, and it just made me feel so much better about like, it's just an example of something I was no longer insecure, would beat myself up over, because there's this thing called, I often talk about it, the liking gap. And it's just a phenomenon within human beings where we underestimate how much people like us
Yeah.
because of how much we like ourselves, because we beat ourselves up. So we think other
Yeah.
people
That's
think that
definitely
same
a
way
huge
about us.
struggle of mine is being really hard on myself.
Yeah.
But I kind of, I don't know, with being as scatterbrained as I am, but still like going on and like getting my doctorate degree and working and having kids and like doing all these things. I always like people are like, how do you do all that? I'm like,
You
I
have your
don't know.
doctorate?
It's kind of ugly sometimes, to be honest, but I do it.
You have your doctorate?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
but it's a messy. It's
A
messy to
doctor
do it
wants
all
to
like
work
this.
on the internet. I mean, we are in an odd time.
I can
In
literally make more money doing this than I can like as a physical therapy. It's really wild. Like I'll never regret going to school, getting my doctorate, going into my career because I love it. But I'm also like, okay, well, I can see these opportunities out there that I can actually generate more money in less time. So I'm not going to be mad that I did that and, wish I had it. I'm just going to add to it and be like, oh, look, I can do both of these things.
there
But it's
is,
there's a little bit of a level of frustration of like, wow, I like spent that much money on my education, that much time on my education, and
yeah.
like I really can't climb any higher than I currently am because,
Mhm.
well, two reasons. The healthcare system and insurance and all that kind of stuff is very limiting. But like I want to only work part-time. So I can only earn so much. Like I
Yeah.
get paid hourly now because of that. And so
Yeah. The work, I
yeah.
mean, it's just not set up for sustainability, Unfortunately, a lot of our workforce and it's such a conundrum, right? Because it's like our healthcare workers are like the most important people in our country, you know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
they're
But it gets
underpaid
yeah.
and they got families, and it's like things are going to change so dramatically over the next 5 to 10 years, folks, that I know that this is, right now there's so many people who come across this and us, and they're like, "Oh, is this a trend? Is it a fad, or it's not real or whatever?" And it's like, folks, whoever says that, whether it's you believing it or a friend or a family or somebody who has got such a rude awakening coming, like
Mhm.
such a rude awakening coming, because these companies, Meta, they want you in goggles in some virtual reality cartoon land. I mean, we are going to places that you could not fathom, and the workforce is going to change and evolve. I mean, Amazon just bought One Medical, and they're on a path to change the way that just medical services and care is provided and given. And if you don't think Amazon will succeed, then you're probably betting against the wrong
Yeah.
folks, right?
Yeah.
But life is going to look so dramatically different in probably even a couple of years, that you, my friend, are on the forefront of that. And if you choose that one day you want to take the knowledge that you're lecturing in these university classrooms, or the information that you're offering, which I'm sure is wonderful and life changing to your patients, if you wanted to then take that knowledge and package and
Oh,
share it somehow, it's already
already up
there,
here.
right? So I mean, there's so many, there's that is we are moving into a place to where probably the landscape is whether it be like how we get our services, our medical services, so forth,
Yeah.
is going to
I
look
mean, even
so
PT is
different.
already moving virtual. Like you can do virtual visits. There's
Right.
several physical therapists on social media who, you know, promote their own courses and coaching and all of that stuff.
In
And I
affiliate products
a
and so
hundred
forth.
percent see myself doing that one day.
Yeah.
Like just adding that to my plate. Because that's one of the things that, through the courses I've taken with you is course creation. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I can do that too.
And it's
When
simple.
the
It doesn't
timing's
have to.
right, I can add that to my plate.
You can absolutely add that and make likely significantly more than you could as in your practice, or in your
Yeah, because I
regular
can only see
activities.
one patient at a time.
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
and your leverage now the whole world, if you want it, if that's
Hmm.
if that's something you could do, at least the whole country, if that's. But when we're providing information, there's a difference between practicing medicine similar to practicing financial, managing somebody's, being a money manager. We can give out advice and entertainment and things on the internet, and we don't fall within that. I'm breaking HIPAA, or I'm,
Yeah. Well,
giving
I mean,
financial
so
advice.
much of my job as a physical therapist is educating my patient.
Educated.
So,
Yes.
so, I mean, because I can tell them to do this exercise or that, but if they don't understand why,
Yeah.
A, they're probably not going to go home and do it.
Yeah.
And B, they're not going to be able to like reapply it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's
Gosh.
a lot of education you can do just to the general public that wants to know, why does this happen when I do this? Well, this is why.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It's Michelle says make sure your ETFs contain Amazon stock, not financial advice for sure. For sure. I'll tell you, I mean, I love investing. I love business. I just this when you start to these are really the secrets of the universe. They're the secrets of the universe. They're the things literally that keep you from having to that keep you from having to go and do the things that you don't want to do. I mean, these are the secrets that human beings have been looking for thousands of years.
yeah.
Is how do we game the system? How do we have a
I
better
feel like
life?
that's like from what we've been learning in like my husband and I, from everything we've been digging into, that's been our common statement. Like, what? Why didn't we know this? Like, what? Like,
Well,
my husband literally has now read the tax code.
yeah,
Like, read the whole thing.
he really is. He is analytical.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And he's like,
This guy's reading
what?
tax code. That's a good guy to have on your side, honestly.
Very helpful. But
Uh,
I mean, just so many things that we're like, why did we never get taught this in like a bazillion years of school that we went to? Like, and so we're like, we are 100% teaching our kids this. Like,
yeah, we realized we really got shortchanged in all of the things that we needed to know, from balancing a checkbook to how to invest in the stock market to,
yeah. And I mean, growing up, that none of that was
how
even
to
like
invest in real
a thought
estate.
because we didn't have anything extra growing up. So I'm sure it wasn't even like a
Yeah,
thought on my parents' plate, because it
agreed.
just wasn't an option.
Agreed. And now we're in different times and there's more opportunity. So there's no real reason to sit around. And I do give my parents a pass simply because the technology wasn't there. You know what I mean? The technology. We got kids in the house. I'm only jealous that my kid is not here to share in the kid.
You want something?
Hi, buddy. Hi. Hi. I see your beautiful little. Aw. Hi, dude.
What do you want?
I want a different show.
Oh, a different show. He got to watch a show while mommy was on a meeting.
Oh, that's so sweet. Hey, I'm going to let your mommy go so she can be with you. Beth, thank you for your time today.
Of course.
It's
Yeah,
such an
this is
inspirational
awesome.
story, and go and enjoy your time with your son, okay?
Yeah.
Mommy, I want a different show.
Okay, different show. Well, we're going to stop watching show. We're going to go outside. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Come back again and talk to us, okay, please?
I will, for sure.
All right. See ya. All right, my friends, that's it. Wow, what an episode. A lot of inspiration from today. Mamma mia. We will be back for another episode tomorrow on Friday, as usual. If you ain't inspired and fired up right now, go check that pulse. Make sure you're alive, because I'm one more hat slam. Golly, man, I'm fired up today. I think I bent my rim on that one, folks. Have a fantastic day. We'll see you back here for another episode. Feeling a little bummed a bit, but the fire is lit. Jennifer, let's go. All right. Get up.